In 1983, the Asataka Setsui novel The Girl Who Leapt Through Time was adapted into film. This version visualizes the impossible act of protagonist Kazuko's time slip, the same day looping until she breaks the cycle by preventing it from happening in the first place. Along her way back to that fateful day, she stumbles into different memories, snapshots of her past brought back to life, but her journey across moments in time is depicted like this. Still frames, shown one at a time, of different locations at sequential positions and angles. These are moments of time flashing by, but not from her own perspective. When designing a set, a scene, a stage, we're destined to only see a certain angle. It could be anything from a play to a film to a video game, but our perspectives and restrictions on those perspectives will always be the same. We only see what the audience is meant to see, what the camera sees, what the boundaries of a digital environment dictate. Naturally, game environments introduce more variables, but we tend to collectively view things with the same limits. These false realms, digital stages we perform in, are the limits that form our memories with video games. A little while ago, I covered the concept of a slice-of-life game, exploring the way that a lot of games enforce mundanity, let you relax in virtual worlds and appreciate the little things. It could be an RPG that gives you downtime in carefully crafted environments, or an adventure game that actively encourages attention to detail, or whatever we define Shenmue as. Simulation games don't count here, however. The parameters are key to the experience, hanging out in virtual worlds built for us and not by us, so please get Will Wright out of here. What is he doing in my house? In the time since that video, I've experienced more games and seen the release of new ones, and my own understanding of the medium has changed forever, as usual. The latest of these games that I've played is To a T.
You are the perfect shade. We are the perfect shade.
To a T, as the description and promo material will tell you, is from the creator of Katamari Damacy, Keita Takahashi. Katamari was the first game he directed, followed by a sequel and another game, Nobi Nobi Boy, before he left Namco. Since that departure, his work has popped up in the form of browser games, event tours, and esoteric handheld devices with cranks on the side. Katamari was characterized by being this non-stop flood of nonsense and whimsy and satisfying gameplay and charismatically blocky graphics and masterfully arranged background music. It's a standout achievement of game design, fondly remembered as one of the PS2's very best and most unusual. As such, Takahashi's games followed suit stylistically even without the staff from Namco backing him. They all feel more like pieces of experimental interactive art than standard commercial products, so it was surprising to hear about To a T, the most normal Keita Takahashi game to date. It arrives as an ideal example of this nebulous slice-of-life category. It's grounded, not in a realistic sense, but in a light-hearted children's cartoon sense. Fantastical things do in fact happen, but they're presented from the perspective of Teen, the protagonist who is a teen in the shape of a T, as events big or small break up their daily routine. While many games out there are designed against making the player chew the fat by way of functions like fast travel, To a T has you spending every day with its protagonist, controlling them as they wash their face and pick their clothes and eat cereal and walk to school and attend class. You can, in fact, take a dump in this game. The repetition of the routine sinks in before the pace is tampered with for the game to deliver the rest of its narrative about a race of alien cuboid fascists with a twist explaining why Teen is stuck T-posing. These fantastical elements only reinforce the kid's cartoonishness of the whole thing, though. In the game, there are 8 episodes that each start with an opening theme performed by English pop band Prep, and end with an ending theme performed by Rebecca Sugar, who hasn't worked on anything else before this. Not a single thing that could have had any influence on this game, not at all. To a T ultimately isn't much different in spirit from Takahashi's other work. It appears like an uncharacteristic move, a narrative adventure game made by someone who doesn't touch the stuff, but it isn't so plain. The controls are just as physically goofy as those past games, the characters comment on non-diegetic elements, and it toys with structure in some pretty bold ways. The episodic opening-ending format is something I've only seen elsewhere in meticulous projects like Kowloon High School Chronicle or Simple 2000 Series Volume 16, The Sniper 2. So seeing it here in a game from this year was pretty wild, actually. 2T is with us now because of Annapurna Interactive, who kind of made a business out of funding these types of accessible adventure games. They're known for stuff like Stray, Outer Wilds, Donut County, Watam. Oh hey, games by smaller teams financed and published by Annapurna, and 2T is the latest of these projects. They have a sturdy reputation for publishing critically acclaimed hits with a pretty wide appeal. It's the kind of stuff I hear about all the time at my very real game school that I very rarely go to. But the skeptic in me kind of worries about this clean track record and so the game industry, it's not in a great spot right now. In the original Slice of Life video, I brought up how I'd play Mario Kart as a kid, and because I'd suck so much at racing, I ended up seeing more in them than originally intended. The weird internal areas of Coconut Mall or the distant forest of Moonview Highway, things you'd ordinarily be speeding past without a second thought. I'm the kind of freak who wants to hang out there, I said, unaware that Nintendo were literally right at that moment sculpting out and developing an open-world Mario Kart. A game in which you hypothetically could hang out in Coconut Mall with your friends. In April 2025, Nintendo unveiled Mario Kart World, and only 2 months later it launched to stupid wild success. A lot of people have been talking about it, what it means in the current climate of video games, and if it justifies this new fancy hardware, the Switch 2. It's big, it's large, it's open world, and it's the biggest Mario Kart to date. Ostensibly. The thing with these Mario Karts is that they've always had distinctly more urban, modern-looking scenery than any other Mario games. Mario Kart 8 emphasized realism, and so a handful of its courses take place in quite grounded places, highlighted with its HD textures and Wii U-powered lighting effects. It always made me feel like there should be some sort of Mario Kart RPG where you travel around and see the sights on your own pace. Mario Kart World delivers almost exactly that, being an open-world take on the series for reasons still mysterious to me. Mario Kart 8 was stupid popular though, so this game was designed with that momentum behind it. Make it big, make it large, make it open world, it'll be the biggest Mario Kart to date, ostensibly. The strange thing about Mario Kart World though is the apparent emptiness of this open world. There is no storyline, no quest markers, no GPS tracking, no dialogue even, but only leaving the player to explore and find things all on their own. It's a pretty ballsy design choice, and it brings a lot of mystique to this game that the standard Breath of the Wild type open worm format would have weakened. It entirely opposes the standard race mode. There is no clear objective unless you find a P-switch challenge somewhere, and there is no overall goal except your own enjoyment of dicking around aimlessly. However, you cannot take a dump in this game. Under these circumstances, it's rewarding to do the kind of dumb stuff I did as a kid and look around in these meticulous racing-oriented areas for, well, anything. Crown City has the most going on, with its numerous made-up signs and mysterious buildings like Business Hotel dotted around. It's, well, I can't deny this is a little weak. I think the magic to my weird child kid head brain was that you don't explicitly get to see everything in this weird half-established world. What is Coconut Mall? Where is it? How can we rationalize any of this? Those old courses left me with the nagging questions subtly buzzing around my head about what greater setting these areas take place in, so actually getting to see that greater setting sort of kills the mystique for me. It's a hub world, simply, but it's different from previous Nintendo hub worlds. I'm not at the edge trying to see what's out there anymore, I'm not imagining some larger world, I'm in it, and it's just okay. It all brings to question the boundaries of how a slice-of-life game can take place. Many of the best examples are limited to small areas, so they're brimming with more minuscule details. Mario Kart World, in comparison, reuses its assets and prioritizes clear graphics, indicating important information to the racer at a moment's notice while still filling up an entire world map. The methods of open-world design are recognizable as isolating densely populated areas, not just with characters but with all kinds of assets, among a larger, overall emptier series of environments. The ways these environments construct and contribute to narratives is weakened when they're designed to instead be large and sprawling, so while a game like Link's Awakening leads the player down a tight path for an intended string of events, the Breath of the Wild duology allows you to completely ignore these events and go hiking in spaces only loosely involved with the storyline, as the barren wasteland getting rebuilt after an apocalyptic calamity. Without that context, viewing these fields as an outsider, they hold very little emotional value. Hyrule is only a playground. Open worlds are a thing of luxury, a design trait that boasts a giant development process while not necessarily bringing more value to a player. Do we really need to know everything that's out there? Do we get more out of staying in our weird little freak zones instead? This is PlayStation Home, an experimental online game for the PS3 active from 2008 to 2015. It was Sony's premier online service game, a hub for PSN users to virtually hang out in, lightweight but crammed full of add-ons in the 6-ish years it stuck around for. As a result, it has a lot of junk and gunk to look at from a wide net of developers, all kind of shoved into the same strange engine from Sony's London studio. That's right, this one's British. So I never played PlayStation Home. I have zero memories of it, no attachment from days gone by, no recollection of hanging out with my internet buddies in these environments. I am playing this in the year 2025, with an unofficial fan-made server that lets me download and explore these old digital relics on an emulator. The brutal, crushing truth, though, is that this is no longer a cutting-edge virtual playground for Sony fans to Sony out in, but a museum. It's an exhibit of low-fidelity landscapes originally intended to be digital hangout spaces now sucked of their purpose. There's no one here. Everyone's gone. Sony being the big media empire they are, PlayStation Home was filled with ads for just about anything. These ads, now garish and outdated, inform the precise circumstances within which this project released. There's stuff here for, like, the PlayStation Move, the UK game retailer named Game, whoever David Guetta is, Red Bull, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, the very console you play PlayStation Home on, Hatsune Miku, Doctor Who. Oh, gee. Just about anything that could get advertised here was given a shot, and this becomes the central identity of PS Home more than any of its original assets. If I go to the mall, virtually, there's an ad for the movie Ted promoting Axe shampoo. You cannot make this up, but here it is, crystallized forever as a digital memento of the PS3 era. There are full virtual E3 show floors, a sleek ad zone for the then new PS Vita, entire virtual environments crafted just to advertise to the player, and default hub spaces overhauled with promos for upcoming games. It's a nightmare of digital world building, pieces coming together to paint a picture of a very specific, very confused corporation trying to find out what the PlayStation 3 can do. There's plenty of games around that try to isolate and recreate the elegiac feeling of a dead mole or empty pool or something, but PlayStation Home is the real deal. This is software that was designed for advertising to its players as much as it was designed for them to hang out in, and it only existed for a very specific span of time. This virtualized third space has been left to rot, revived only by those eager to return to it, but the original purpose is completely lost on us. In this suitably melancholic hub space, redesigned to promote the 2013 Japan studio game Rain, ads flash by on virtual screens for The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5, two games that still stick to the game industry today like a parasite. It's here that the end of the PS3 and its surrounding culture is captured pristinely. A dreary atmosphere diluted by a bright Fast and Furious ad, a promotional TARDIS prop, and a levitating PS Vita. It is locked in time for a game freak like me to look back on and remember the days when I, too, was encapsulated in this product ecosystem, and how betrayed I felt by its abrupt impermanence. Amidst all the hollowness, there's also some pretty cute stuff here though. For example, Granzella, developers of the Disaster Report series, produced a bunch of spaces for PS Home that are all reminiscent of the environment design in their other games. It's here, if you ask me, where PS Home shines, because these are such cute, junky artifacts of the 7th console generation. Fake lighting effects and flat NPCs and blocky skyscrapers. It's so reminiscent of Shenmue that it makes me weep. A lot of the more ordinary zones, like this one by Irem, inspire that restricted feeling of being locked to one space, but just barely seeing the rest of the world out in the distance. It's a particular kind of set design. Players are only pretending to hang out in these spaces, but they are naturally fake. Their illusion shattered the moment you look outside their strict limits. The diegesis demolished so swiftly and easily. Maybe it's a testament to the fragility of early 3D environment design, but there's no reason for these spaces to be realistically detailed in the first place. They're lightweight 3D chat rooms designed only to keep players engaged with the functions, features, and products of the PlayStation Network. With this technology, anyone can take a dump. Virtually. The feeling created from all these environments, especially with no one around, is important to me. It's often what I seek from any game. The little things, the handcrafted textures, the bizarre solutions to data restrictions, the mirrors that don't quite work. It's all charming despite its emptiness. I could chill out in this fake polygonal mall for hours with no one around, and then I'll go outside and get an ad from Sony reminding me to pick up a copy of the 2010 PSP re-release of Boku no Natsuyasumi 2. In 2023, the Hilltop Translation team released a patch for Boku no Natsuyasumi 2, the first complete English patch for any game in the series. It came out that November, right as I was working on my previous Slice of Life video, but inconveniently timed as it wasn't seasonally appropriate and I was already focusing more on other games. Nonetheless, I tried the patch and gave attention there to Boku as a no-brainer example of this category. I didn't honestly know what these games held yet though, so my coverage was as light as my experience with playing them. If you're unfamiliar, Boku no Natsuyasumi is one of Sony's home-cooked projects, but locked to the Japanese market since the game is concerned with delivering an accurate simulation of a kid's 1975 summer vacation in the Japanese countryside. It's beautifully specific, but as the series gained more attention with English speakers, the demand for a translation grew until we eventually actually got one for the second entry. This summer, I've been playing through Boku no Natsuyasumi 2 after forgetting to do so last year, and it's really splashed me with the special sauce. Every day I, Boku, say hi to Simon, I pet the dog, I ask this weird girl about my fortune, I head over to the neighbor's house to hear music, I take a dump, and I write in my Boku no diary. Only having played a few days of this summer beforehand, I really did only have a surface-level understanding of the hidden power of Boku Natsuni. At first, my knowledge was just that it looks pretty, it's delightfully put together, and every screenshot is gorgeous, and that's all I needed to know, all I did know until its English translation. It is all of these things still, but as I played past those first few days and got into my Boku no routine, these layers peeled away. It's a child's role to take things at face value and see the world around them in simple terms, but this is not a child's game. Knowing now what characters are saying thanks to this translation, the realness of the world is felt. The complicated family matters loom overhead, and reminders of tragedy or instability or mortality are ever present. These aspects are all hidden behind that language barrier, because without understanding any of this dialogue, Boku no Natsuyasumi is just a pretty selection of pictures. The days go by, and the summer vacation eventually ends. This is a game about enjoying it while it lasts. Of course, being a static single-player PS2 game, these events can be replayed at any time. This summer vacation is stored on a disc, or UMD, for any player to revisit at any time. Boku no natsuyasumi 2 lets you do the impossible and relive the exact same month, August 1975, again and again, which cannot be done with such finite software as PlayStation Home. PlayStation Home remains a relic we can look back on, but never truly re-experience, while Boku no natsuyasumi 2 is frozen in time, like any other fictional narrative. Despite its literal replayability, Boku no natsuyasumi 2 reminds us again and again that it is not eternal. What we're seeing is a ghost, which is funny because one of the characters is an actual ghost only Boku, you can see. The nature of the slice of life game is clear to me now, thanks to Boku. My infatuation doesn't stem from immersion or escapism, but from the impossible ability to explore an environment frozen in time along with its associated narrative. You can always revisit these places, virtually, and they will always remain the same pieces of software as before, which just can't happen in real life. This is such a prevalent sentiment regarding game design that the entire opening of Kingdom Hearts 2 was about this finite nature. That's right, I'm still unpacking how I feel about Kingdom Hearts 2! So what makes Boku no natsuyasumi 2 so special is its lovingly crafted fictional environment, right? The loose storyline and its characters flesh out the scenery, but that gorgeously painted backdrop is the star of the show. It uses the video game medium to full effect to immerse players in its virtual realm, the multimedia symphony of art and polygons and text and audio combined, but is immersion at all the intent? In a 2013 interview for Scroll magazine, a digital outlet written by former Retronaut and Game Pro magazine contributor Ray Barnholt, Boku no natsuyasumi's creator, Kaz Ayabe, described his meticulous passion for designing fully imaginary fictional towns. Boku, then, comes as a result of his ability to conjure up this imagined environment in a way he literally compares to playing SimCity. You're right, get out of my house! I'm not playing the herbs!
When I saw SimCity coming out, I thought, darn, I should be the person creating this.
That's no surprise.
Whenever I go to parks like Disneyland, I often feel like, if it was me I would make it this way.
I think it's this Disneyland comparison that's key to understanding how such game environments are made. Theme parks, especially stuff on the scale of Disneyland, are focused on transporting attendees to fictional realms. Their Imagineers design attractions with the intent to immerse, and often also advertise and sell products. Kind of like PlayStation Home. These can entirely backfire. There's oodles of examples of failed attractions, but the goal remains clear. When we go to Disneyland, we aren't in the real world anymore. When we play an RPG, we aren't in the real world anymore. But the key difference between a standard RPG and Kaz Ayabe's vacation sim is that intent to immerse. If you go to the Star Wars Hotel... Wait, it shut down? If you go to, Tomorrowland, you're not thinking, what do I need to do to progress? You're just there to hang out in the carefully synthesized futurist unreality. This is in isolation, of course. If we consider the gamified elements of the park, the time optimization visitors undertake to see as much as possible in one trip, the atmosphere is completely overlooked and the illusion breaks apart. That's where video games come in. Unrestricted theme park access. My point is, regardless of detail, game environments are artificial spaces. They may immerse us, but they were designed by someone, and so artistic intent is reflected in these very environments. We know that these painted backgrounds aren't real, but by golly, they get the feeling across. You know what doesn't? By all means, Katamari Damacy is the opposite of a slice-of-life game, almost antagonizing the entire concept. Similarly to Boku, Katamari features nostalgic environments and a cutesy art style and an essence that, from a mile away, screams of its own home country's culture. But Katamari does not linger on these scenes. The clock's always ticking, it ruminates on nothing. It's a destructive and apocalyptic game where the objective is to take these established things, this once meaningful stuff, and roll it into an abominable mass for the judgment of some inconceivable higher being. With the context of the existence of games like Boku no Natsuyasumi, Katamari feels scathing and critical. You may see it in a more positive light, like it's an analogy for the creation of any piece of art. Things in our life amassed and recontextualized into something new. That's partially enforced by the soundtrack, even, with its strong selection of vocalists with large histories in music. However, the act of amassing things together in Katamari is ironically through destroying their meaning, ripping them from their original place and context. The cynicism of Katamari comes to light with the sequel We Love Katamari, a silly response to the popularity of the original. We love Katamari. Everyone loves Katamari. We want more Katamari. Make more Katamari. Every stage here is concerned with filling a demand that the king of all cosmos here begrudgingly accepts before handing the task over to you. The total spite coursing through We Love Katamari perfectly illustrates the reason behind Keita Takahashi's eventual split from Namco. Oh, oops, that's now Bandai Namco. My bad. My bad. With everything in mind, Katamari Forever sounds like a threat. This is not Katamari Damacy, this is just a Katamari Damacy tribute. Quitting one of Japan's biggest video game companies following a cataclysmic merger to pursue independent projects is a pretty normal thing to do given all this. Takahashi has met some pretty steady success from that dramatic pivot, while Bandai Namco flops around and produces remakes and mobile games and stuff without the creator's involvement. Nevertheless, Katamari's shadow looms. The two games published by Annapurna, Watan and To a T, both feature from the creator of Katamari Damacy in their promotional material because, as we know, Minna daisuki Katamari Damacy. They are compared directly to the creator's previous most prolific work. So when I play To a T and experience its dual-stick arm controls, I'm always thinking, wow, this is just like Katamari. That also used both of the sticks. But under the shadow of the past, To a T is anomalous for being a normal adventure game. Well-adjusted, polite, silly, and unique, but in a digestible way. Why not make a slice-of-life game to juxtapose the clump of destruction game? Of course, To a T wasn't made specifically for fans of Katamari, but the comparison lingers. It can't be helped. Everything is made of something, and there are slices of artists' lives in all video games to an extent. There's slices of me in this video, aren't there? One of the central conflicts in The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is the manipulation of Kazuko's memories. She believes her childhood friend Fukamachi is still alive and falls in love with him over the course of the story, when in reality Fukamachi died when they were still young. With this in mind, the story could be read as Kazuko coping with this tragic loss, her time slip representing rumination on the past and an escape from the present before she accepts the truth and lives on. A common pitfall of the modern media zeitgeist is that the types of TV shows and movies and games that are being produced are over-reliant on revisiting the past. It's a dangerous distraction from our current world, from new ideas, and connection through modern art feels uncommon as a result. Boku no Natsuyasumi 2 is a game set around 25 years before it was released, squarely targeted at 30-somethings who remember the exact time period and may want to relive it. It's a highly personal production, allowing players to reminisce but not hiding them from the brutal truths of the adult world, which linger over Boku's Boku no head. To a T is somehow also set around 25 years before its release. The calendar's firmly stuck in the year 1999. This fact bugged me throughout the whole game. There are no indicators of this time period, no ruminations on the past or escapes from the present. This is either a randomly picked number that means nothing, or it's a bold statement about the present day not really being that different from the past. It's telling me that I didn't miss out, that there's nothing to long for, that I can return to it any time I'd like and it'll still feel new. In this case, it feels far more in line with Takahashi's body of work than I initially thought. The irony is, The Girl Who Left Through Time has been adapted over and over and over. There are 3 separate live-action films, an animated spiritual sequel, audio dramas, multiple stage plays, various manga, and even a cancelled PlayStation game. The story about leaving things in the past in order to move forward has frequently, persistently been returned to. And so, Kazuko Yoshiyama has been depicted within several time periods, within several mediums, performed by different people. The perspective keeps changing. The games I've talked about in this video are static pieces of art, but they all fluctuate with your own engagement. Even if you play the same exact game as me, our experiences will be different. With PlayStation Home, it's even impossible to have the same experience as anyone who played it as an officially managed online service, but I'll return to that feeling some other day, process it, and get back to you. Maybe a slice-of-life game is difficult to describe, but it's easy to demonstrate how differently 2 people may perceive the same snapshot of a fictional character's life, or the fictional realm the player sees. There's a lot of very personal value elicited by such games, a result of the way we're forced to intimately interact with identical copies. It's a fact that no 2 people are gonna have the same experience, but the work of art will always remain, static and solitary and frozen, unchanging with the times. The words stay on the paper. With that said, what the hell is this?